dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world. What's up? It's your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. Got a great show for you tonight. Why? Because I said so. Hey, we're going to be talking about marriage, kids, and intimacy and what all that entails. Got a very good cast that's coming on this evening. Very seasoned, I would say. Okay. And we're going to talk about the things that need to be talked about and how can we have a productive marriage. And so the question of the evening that we're going to be having for our icebreaker, nobody ever really thinks about it, however, we're going to start with, what is your go-to dance move? What is your go-to dance move? Now, if some people was at the Freaknik, they probably had tons of moves, right? May be able to see that in that documentary. All right. So we're going to start off, with the young sir, Mr. Tate.
I knew you was coming.
You just got to be ready, bro.
You know what? I am ready because this is how I don't dance, and my wife love to line dance, and I'm old school. So one thing that you can't mess up is a good old two-step. So I can two-step my way around any venue. So my go-to is simply just a two-step because it can go to any beat.
That's a bet. I appreciate you being here already, bro. All right. And then we got a newcomer coming to the stage. You got to check out her podcast. She considers herself a wife coach, and everybody needs some type of coaching. And we're going to welcome to the stage Miss Tawanda Johnson. How's it going, ma'am?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you being here, giving us some of your time. So what you got? What's your go-to dance move?
I'm a little I'm a little mad at Tay because he stole my two-step. I was really ready for you to come to me first, but you didn't, and so I'm coming through with the two-step second because that's the go-to all day.
So is it a side-to-side two-step?
It's a side-to-side, but you got your shoulders in it. You get your hand. You can do a lot with a two-step.
Okay. All right. Bet. All right. Then welcome to the stage. My homie, my friend. He got the guns out. I don't know why. Mr. Prototype.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
Look,
what's
so
your answer, bro? Because you always so much you ain't got one. What's your answer today?
It depends, man. What's being played? So if you're coming out with the wobble, you know what I'm saying, and that's gonna make me get on the dance floor. One of those line dances things, or look, man, I got married for a reason, man. So you put on one of them booty songs, man. I'm grabbing the wife and we hitting the dance floor, man. We're gonna do it like what I'm saying, like it's a basement party. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what's up. You just want to hear nothing but Uncle Luke type music. That's what you said.
No, I ain't saying that. That's too old. That's too old.
Hey, and we're gonna welcome to the stage a newbie. Give her a round of applause, Miss Bethany. How you doing, ma'am?
Hello. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. You got the question?
I got the question.
All right. So what would you say?
I'm kind of like Prototype. It depends what's being played, but being from New Orleans, I'm all about that 99 to 2000. So as soon as that beat drop, it's on and popping.
That's what's
and
up.
I get to dance with my husband. So, try not to twerk at this age, but the beat drop, got my husband with me, we're good to go.
That's the bet. Hey, and I'm gonna welcome to the stage probably the number one DJ that people don't know about. My homie, my friend, Ricky.
Hey, what's happening?
I'm good. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. What you got on this, bro?
Man, you know what I'm saying? My shit is like the hammer, you know what I'm saying? I go that J, you know what I'm saying?
Do you do that behind the DJ booth too?
Yes.
That's a bit. All right. Hey, listen, I appreciate that. Hey, we got welcome to the stage. She coming back for the second time. Hopefully she's here for a long time. Miss Dia.
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all. What's going on?
I'm from Chicago, so it's gonna be some type of step as well. I don't know if it's the 2 or 3, but it depends on, like Prototype said, what the song is. So it's some type of step. It's a hey.
How you do a 3-step to a 4
I
count?
don't know. It depends on the song. That's what I'm saying. It's a step though, for sure.
That's a bet. All right. Okay. All right. Then we're gonna welcome to the stage the Wife's School Podcast. Oh, I see you with the glasses. I see you, man. Okay. All right, let us know what's your favorite dance.
Oh man, I'm not cool like everyone. I don't really dance. I like the Carlton move, so it's a upgraded 2-step, I guess.
That's a dance though. The Carlton is a dance.
So I do not dance at all. So but I do like the little Carlton dance. I like having fun and just making people laugh type thing.
That's a bit. And then we got my homie backstage, and we'll wait on him. We won't wait on him. We'll get started and then bring him up later. So as you can see in the title is about marriage, kids, and intimacy. And we've been talking about how can we keep marriages together. The rate is pretty high, as they say, that marriages are ending. But I believe that there's value in marriage, and one of those things is intimacy. So I'm going to start by saying, how would you define intimacy? Think about that for a moment. Give my teacher hat, give you a 10-second thought process, time to think. How would you define intimacy? And we're going to go with, y'all know who I'm going with first? You have any idea? The one that asked to go first last time, Miss Tawanda.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Intimacy is big. I'm going to say, what I like to define as intimacy is an openness and an invitation to experience someone's physical, mental, spiritual being. So all of them. But I think what's most critical to know is you're going to need the openness, right? So you're going to have to open yourself up. And then you're going to have to invite somebody in. Without both of those things, you're going to be lacking. You're going to be missing something that's really important. So that's how I would define intimacy.
All right, cool. Who you got going next to answer the question?
I'm going to go with Bethany.
Thank you. How would I define intimacy? I would define it as quality time, intentional time, and I would say, yes, there is a physical aspect of it, but I think there's also this emotional aspect of it, and where it's the openness, open, honest, unfiltered time, through conversation. But I know for my marriage, it could be just watching TV in the silence and not having our kids bother us, or that could be a walk, whatever. For me, that's important for us.
That's what's up. Who you got going next?
Who I have going next? Let's go with Ricky.
Oh, I was on mute. My bad. Intimacy, I think is just acceptance, right? Acceptance of your partner, right? You know how you, I don't know if y'all ever saw, what is it? Pulp Fiction, when she was like, don't you hate that uncomfortable silences? Why is it that people just can't sit by themselves and shut up? You know what I mean? I think when you with your partner, like every moment's appreciated. It's not just about sex. It's about knowing you can be yourself with your partner at all times. I mean, you know, men, especially us as men, you know, we have times where we got to be stoic, but you know, we have doubts, we have fears, right? And sometimes it gets to the point where you got to express that, you know, hey, I'm worried about this. I'm feeling this way about it. And you can let your partner know, hey, this is what I'm doing, and y'all can talk it out. Y'all can chop it up. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's from a woman's side too. If she's feeling vulnerable or self-conscious about something, that she can come to her man and talk to him with no holds barred. You know what I mean? And knowing that, you know, even though it bothers you or it might be weird that your person is going to accept you regardless. I'm gonna go to Dwayne. Dwayne
Man.
Jones.
All right. So intimacy, the way I define it, like y'all may mention, it is a relationship, but it's not just the physical, emotional, the spiritual. It's all of them combined, and a vulnerability that you are open to express within that relationship, because you know that person has your best interests at heart. So, to me, intimacy is a deep, multifaceted connection amongst people, especially in marriage. Oh my goodness. Yes, I gotta pick who. Who
First of all,
yeah.
Dwayne, you
Yeah.
are an original cast member, bro. Like, how you forget the rule?
Well, I forgot to take turn my camera on, so I got skipped on the first question. So I'm a little behind right now. Okay.
Okay. So you consistent. Say, by the way, just so everybody know, Dwayne is my homie. He's my accountability partner. So we roast each other on the regular. All right. So who you got going next, Dwayne?
Who hasn't won yet? My bad. Martavius, you went yet? I don't think you went. Yeah. All right. Come on, Martavius.
Yeah, for me, I would say intimacy would be like a lot of you guys said, just being open. Then I would just add being aware of your spouse's love language, because we're all different and we receive it differently. So my wife is words of affirmation. So if I want to be intimate with her, I can't expect sex. I can't expect to be out doing things. Just sitting having a good conversation with her is intimate. So just being aware of her love language. And then I would just say being present in the moments. If you want to sit there with each other and you think that is very intimate, I think then you just need to be in that moment, not being on social strolling or whatever. If you just want to sit in the moment with your spouse, I think that counts for me as towards like being intimate. So I think it's just being aware of your relationship with your spouse, knowing what that person needs, and also knowing what you need, and then just having the open communication to express that. Because I think a lot of people have unspoken expectations or communications, and they expect their spouse to know certain things about what they want. And like I said, if you don't know their love language, then you're speaking something that they can't understand. So that's one thing that I had to learn. My wife, sitting around hugging her, grabbing her, doing things for her, like that wasn't into she just tell me you love me, tell me I'm beautiful, things like this. And I was like, that's all you need? And she was like, yes, that's all I need. So that's for me. The big part would be just being aware. So I will go with Prototype.
Man, intimacy for me is them deep conversations, when you're sharing each other's like traumas and secrets. Intimacy is them smacks on the butt when you walk past in the kitchen. It's the slow dancing, when there's no music. You know what I'm saying? It's the rubbing each other's feet. You know what I'm saying? Just because y'all sitting there watching a movie and y'all sitting head to toe. Intimacy is fixing each other's clothes when y'all out, like, you know what I'm saying? Picking the lint off each other's shirt. So that's what intimacy is for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of it's an outward thing for me. Like, and it's intimacy is basically an outward expression about what's going on, about how you feel inside. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's all those little things of walking past each other and and making sure y'all touch. It's that kind of stuff. The cooking together. That's what being intimate. It's not even like necessarily sexual. It's more so just connection. You know what I'm saying? And how you're out. Explain. Showing those connections by those certain things. I think I was last though.
No, I didn't go.
Oh, okay. Let's go with Ms. Dear.
So I think everybody covered it, but what registered was acceptance, definitely, and I would say closeness to add. Emotions, an emotional exchange, whether that's intellectual, spiritual, however, whatever you want to put on top of it, but it's definitely a closeness that creates even more closeness. Quiet, peaceful, however it shows up, but intimacy is a deep connection. that you feel. Mhm.
Deep connection.
You guys
Like-
covered.
Okay. So, you finished, D? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I'm finished. Everybody said everything.
Okay. The Wife School podcast. Did you go?
No,
Oh, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
good. No, you.
because they don't have an intimate connection with me. I understand. So I have an understanding. Definitely an intimate connection is like the deepest understanding that you want to get from your partner. You want to get to those levels of anticipation. It's not that I'm waiting for her to do something. I already know that he likes this thing. I already know that he likes his food this certain way. Like you already are in a oneness, just like the scripture said, to become one. It's you guys have synced up, and that's true intimacy, and nobody else can know those little, bits and pieces of your relationship, because that's only something that you guys share, something that your children don't even know, that people don't even know that you have been vulnerable to open up yourself to, because this is the person who you intend to spend your life with. This is a person who you intend to expose your innermost secrets and desires to, because they're supposed to not be your happiness, but in some little ways fulfill that with the love that they're willingly giving to you, that they signed up for. So it's just that deep understanding, that deep connection with that person.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Anybody want to add to this? Because we touched up pretty much on a lot of it before we move on. That's pretty much the icebreaker. Anybody want to add?
The most intimate part is that she can eat your snacks and you not get mad with her. It's so intimate.
That part.
Did you listen to the show?
Best part.
You still upset, but you're gonna get that deep side.
Rick take pauses. Was you finished? Oh, he went over. Last week, for those that don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, the conversation was eating snacks, and if you eat my leftovers, it's gonna be a problem. I think that was Prototype, and I'm mistaken, right? And she's like, "You ate my leftovers, like that's a problem." And what you gonna do about it? He said, "Well, I will just buy you something new to go when you go to work." And she was like, "Oh, so." So you got to be okay with people eating your snacks sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said this to you, Rick. Don't eat the snacks, bro. All right, that's a good start. So, as you all said, intimacy is different, and different. It means different things to different people. And so, understanding that, how would you say it would be? How would somebody know what your intimacy is? Tay brought it to a position of love language. So I want to talk about what's the communication. What is the communication around intimacy? What is the communication around intimacy? Okay, and we'll start with Miss Brittany. What is the communication around intimacy? Like, how would somebody know what that is for you? How would your husband know that for you?
Now you said Brittany.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bethany. I'm sorry, Bethany. That's why you were looking at me crazy.
I was like, I think I knew what you meant though. I got that all through school though, so it's okay.
Like, it's crazy on my screen. Your name is so small.
It's all good.
All right, Bethany.
And okay, say that question. What is the communication around?
Absolutely. What is the communication around intimacy? Like, how would your husband know this is it? The reason why I asked that is because I'll go back there. When I was dating this one young lady in college, she would tell me that I should know what it is that makes her tick. I should know what is bothering her. I should know, okay. And I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And so,
right.
How would your husband know, you specifically, or how would that conversation go?
It's funny because we've been married going on 8 years, and we don't have to really say anything and be very blunt about it. Sometimes it's a look. Sometimes it's just the timing of things. We can be very intentional, But with so much going on, the busyness of kids, the busyness of a business, we know like our empty spaces that we may have. So sometimes we're blunt and we'll just kind of we may say something and joke about it, but I don't expect them to know. I don't know. This is kind of a tricky question, but we just communicate. We vibe off each other. I don't know. It's the little smacks on the butt. It's the little wink across the kitchen, that kind of thing. Oh, the baby down for a nap, that kind of thing. That's it.
That's what's up.
We cheesy sometimes, okay?
Nothing wrong with that at all. That's what's up. So who you got going next?
Let's go with the White School podcast.
All right, thank you. What is the communication around intimacy? The communication around it, I've learned the best way is just to come out and say it. Because men are not mind readers. In our minds, sometimes as women, like we put this, stipulation on the guys, or this projection that they should know everything because I'm a woman, and that they have this this that they have all the answers and they don't. And so when in those times when we're feeling like we need a little bit more, it's just safer to say, hey, honey, I've been, wanting to do some stuff like here and there. I've been wanting to try this or try that. Or I wanted to go see this movie. We don't go out like we used to. We don't have date nights like we used to. And I'm feeling a little bit disconnected. So you just can come out and say it, but don't come out and say it in a mean, angry way. Like, you know what I'm saying? You oughta. No, not like that, but in a way that would inspire him or to, like, okay, I see what you're saying. Let's try it, Just come out and say it.
Okay. Who you got going next?
I am so sorry. I'm new. I would like to talk. I'm so sorry. Miss Tawanda.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to say personally, between my husband and I, we don't live in gray areas. We don't do gray areas. And so we are definitely communicators. And that has to do with whether we're talking about sexual intimacy or we're talking about non-sexual, any type of intimacy. When we feel like we're missing something or we desire something, the actions will be there, but we're not going to just rely on actions. We're always going to use words because we know what happens when you don't use words. Somebody is going to go left without, and then there's going to be a problem. And then it just leads to other things. And so I think just from our experience of being together for 16 years, we've learned that there is no better way than to open up your mouth and say what you want or say what you don't want. I'm tired of doing XYZ. Can we do that later? Can we do this? Whatever the case might be, and not be afraid to say that, because I think a lot of the times fear looms, and fear is a paralyzer and it can do a whole lot of damage inside of a marriage. And so I think making sure there's safe space there is important. But that's personally the way we are inside of our marriage. We're just very much communicators and don't leave a lot of room for gray areas. So there's no one's confused, no one's lost in any way ever. I'm going to say prototype.
Contrary to popular belief, I know some men don't communicate it, but I think we really do know when intimacy is being, displayed to us. Because it feels like submission. You know what I'm saying? It feels like, the gaze in their eyes, and it feels like she's telling you, like, I'm yours. Do what you want with me. You know what I'm saying? So there's a way she makes you feel that. So I mean, I know when a woman is like interested like that, especially my wife. So it's nothing. I don't know. Sometimes I take advantage of it or sometimes I don't, but I know that feeling, and I know when somebody's, conveying that off, like, hey, whatever you want, you can have it. Just ask me, or we can go do, you know what I'm saying? I'm following your lead kind of a situation, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. I think we know. I mean, I think some of us play dumb a lot of times that we don't know, but you know when somebody is into you and likes you and, you know, kind of wants that intimate moment with you, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I feel about it. Man, let's
great. So you think that people know? The reason why I asked, because intimacy, y'all said, was not just about sex. Y'all said that.
Well, I'm not saying it's not just about sex. No, I mean, but it's still even when a woman is like just talking to you and like telling you things like that are deep, dark. You know what I mean? Like deep to her, like telling you about her childhood. You know what I'm saying? When people are doing that kind of stuff, you know, you feel that they're trusting you, and it's, you know, to me, it's common sense. Like if somebody's like just letting loose and telling you things that they shouldn't be telling people, or you know what I mean, or giving you a vibe that's like, hey, I'm yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's easy for me to read, but you know, maybe everybody just don't. Maybe it's a gift. I don't know. I don't want to say it, but
well, you know,
I think it's common sense.
You know,
I know, but I don't think I'm that gifted. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a surprise. Nevertheless, I digress, because you talk about how great you are. So I didn't know that you didn't think that. Who you got going next,
right.
Prototype?
You're absolutely right. Let's go with I guess Dia, right? Did you go yet?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I would say what I've learned is, even after 33 years of being together, to not assume that your partner knows anything. So I would say, if I'm looking for, my favorite is intellectual intimacy. I love having deep conversations. So I'll start out by saying, like, I have a question, because I always have a question. And he'll be like, I hope I have an answer, depending on the energy that we exchange. So whatever happened before then. And if it's physical intimacy or, you know, sexual intimacy, then it'll be a look or ask even. So I would say I communicate by communicating, asking for what it is that I want. And him, I could pretty much tell, but I don't want to assume. So I'll follow the cues. But for the most part, I think you should just communicate, be clear and concise on whatever it is that you're looking for. I think that's the best way to get your needs met. But never assume that your partner knows. Always just say what you need. I can't hear you. I think
who you got next?
Dwayne.
All the above. Yeah. Y'all did that. So yeah, that's what I'd say. Is just say what you need to say.
That's a bad. Who you got going next? Oh, you finished? Because I don't know. Because sometimes who you got going next?
Yeah, I'm done.
So
Ricky,
pick somebody. Dwayne?
Ricky, you went? Come on with it then.
I call cap on all of y'all. Besides Proto, hey, right? So let's be clear, right? Yes, communication is speaking, is talking, but it's also paying attention.
Did you hear what I said?
Right? It's a push and pull. It's a tug of war almost, right? Right? Yeah, I want you to tell me, but y'all know sometimes I got to push the envelope a little bit, right? And see how you respond, right? I got to touch you right there, and I got to listen. I got to pay attention. That's when y'all say he should know, right? Because if I'm really paying attention, right? If I'm giving you the stimulus, right? If I'm putting it boom, boom, boom. Oh, that's what it is, right? Or if if I touch you here, or if I say this certain thing, or if I a certain way, right? So it's nuances to this, right? Because that's the game for real, right? That's what excites you, right? That's the cue you pick up on, right?
But that's for you, not for us.
Right. What if
that's
it's
for you?
That's if you're saying that's not what you want, then you're the one out of a million women who tell their man you wasn't supposed, that you actually open your mouth and say everything that's a problem to you, right? But again, I speak in generalities. I'm not speaking about you. It's never anybody on the panel.
Right? Hey, you ever notice that, Rick? It's never them on the panel.
Right? But the truth is, there's communication, then there's nonverbal communication, right? It's cues and it's stimuli, right? If that person means enough to you, you will pick up on those things and then learn to utilize them in the game of love that you get two guys play. Right. So you communicate, you communicate verbally, but I also have to pay attention. And while paying attention don't cost you nothing, it's real expensive. Let's go with did you go already, wife school? D went, right? Dia went. Bethany, did you go? Martavius.
Listen, this is exactly what be going on in my classroom.
I wasn't paying no attention.
I know.
I
That was
can't follow
you
that
have
up.
to say that, bro. Like this, obvious. You went through 4 people. Go ahead, Tay.
Whoever didn't go.
Yeah, I don't think I can follow it up, man. I think the ladies speak from their side of what they think it is, and me just being honest, that's my wife's side. She wants communication. She know I love her, but she wants to hear it. And so for me, I think everything stems from communication. And me and my household, we believe in, or we don't believe in having unspoken expectations. Like, don't expect me to do something you haven't brought it to my attention. So you can't get mad if I don't know that's what you need. So for me, I love, like, mine is physical touch. We have 5 kids for a reason. Like, that's clear to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, that's not going to make our marriage last. Having healthy communications, talk about things that, you know, I saw or I experienced growing up, talking about things that she saw and she experienced that when she was growing up. To me, intimacy wise, that has brought us closer to anything else, because it doesn't have anything to do with having long conversations where time slips away and you can't believe you got all these kids and you're now staying up this late having the conversation. So for me, I think just being married to my wife going on 7 years and just being around older couples and just being around people who's actually investing into that marriage. The thing about me, it's like I said before, like, your marriage has to be an investment. And so for me, like, you don't play around with your investment, that you take that very serious. So I think you have to do the same thing with your marriage. And so for me, sometimes I think these little things can be like cracks in the foundation. Your marriage is the foundation. If you have these cracks over time, like, things gonna slip in these cracks and it's gonna affect it some way. So for me, what I had to learn, things that I saw growing up, things that I saw my uncles doing, my grandfather did, like, they never fixed those cracks. So for me, when I see these things and I start like doing this and showing it to my kids, I'm thinking they're watching, they're learning how to communicate with women. My daughters are learning how men should communicate with them. And this is what their picture of what love looks like, because I'm telling them I love your mom. She telling them that she loved the dad. So for me, it's like, it's not about us and what intimate looks like for us. It's also about that next generation being our kids and us showing them what that looked like. So for me, and what we talked about last week and how we want to raise our daughters, and, you know, things are going to happen in school. So, you know, for me, I believe it all starts at home. Kids bring what they're experiencing at home and they bring it to school. And that's all they know is what they've been taught. So for me, when we think about these things, I try to go on a deeper level. Like I said, we can get on here and talk about it all night long on this computer, but at the end of the day, it's going to show up in your household and what your kids are doing and taking outside of your house. That's going to be the ultimate picture of what it looks like to me. So I try to take intimacy to a deeper level, because like I said, I can get caught up in slapping the butts and thinking that's fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, my wife is like, you haven't told me you love me today. So really, as a husband, should I feel good about myself? I shouldn't, because I didn't express love to her in a way that she can receive it. So for me, I think we have to start thinking about the other person, because like she said, it's marriages coming together and being one as a unit. And I think it can go many ways. And what works for you and your spouse is great. And I think it's great to hear these things, to let people know, like, you can't put marriage in a box and expect this way to work for everybody. It's going to be different because we're all different. But we can come together, learn, have a healthy conversation, and show people that you can work things out and build a successful, lasting marriage, regardless of how it looks and how society tell you it has to look. So, yeah, that's my answer in short form.
That's what's up. Who you got going next?
I think you the last one with that. Or Miss Tawanda, I'm not sure if she went.
I do.
All right.
Okay, I think you may love.
Absolutely. That's good, man. I think it's important to, as you all said, is to have the conversation. But many of us have probably been married for an extended period of time. And so I think that should start, the communication should start during the courting phase, right? Where you're telling each other what it is that you like and what you don't like. because getting into a marriage, I would say you want to hit the ground kind of running, right? Because if you don't, then those where those hiccups are. I know in my first marriage, like the first 6 months were very rocky because that was not a conversation that we had, right? And so I think it's good for you all to explain that yes, we need to have communication, and then on the flip side, you also need to be paying attention, right? Because if I say this is what I like, that, and then you don't do that, right? Were you listening? Were you paying attention, or not? And so I think that they kind of bow well together. So with that particular kind of centerpiece, and this is a free for all. This next round, anybody can go. We just gonna have a dialogue. The question that I was pondering when you all was talking was about where was it? It was about who handles rejection of intimacy the best. Who handles rejection of intimacy the best? The reason why I say that is because we handle it differently, I think, right? Some get rejected more often than others, not necessarily this panel, because nothing ever happens. If it's talked about, then it don't happen on the panel, right? So anybody want to go?
I would jump
Who
in.
handles rejection of intimacy the best?
I would say nobody. When we're talking about couples in marriage, and nobody, because I mean that's why you're vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like your guard is down. If we was out in the world, I would say men for sure. We handle it best because that's what we're hunters. We're out there hunting. Doing what we do. But once you get in that deep relationship, everybody's sensitive. Nobody's handling rejection well. You know what I mean? So, I mean that's kind of like my truth and how that's how I feel about it. But,
I think it gets worse depending on what you're looking for, right? So if physical touch is what you want, right, and you're going after physical touch and you don't get it, right, you're gonna feel you're gonna feel some type of way about that, right? But if you go to have a conversation, and that's not really your thing, but you're just trying to, be intimate, you may not receive it as badly as you would that rejection from the attempt at physical intimacy. So what's important to you? Is it going to sting regardless? Yes, but I think that there are probably levels to it depending on what matters more to you, what form of intimacy matters more to you. So.
I think that's a tough one. I'm so sorry, my love. You go ahead. You want to go?
I was going to say, I think men handle rejection better than women, but like Tawanda said, I think it would depend on what type of intimacy you were looking for that was rejected. Mm-hmm. Definitely not the physical. That's a stinger because you think as an adult, when the appropriate time is. So if you turn down, it's like, okay, well, what's your problem? Mm-hmm. So it was a lack of communication going on somewhere. And I think in relationships, we have a tendency to give the other person what we want. So that's definitely why communicating what it is that you want is very important, because you'll be missing the mark. If I'm always trying to give you what it is that I need, things get easily misconstrued and it'll create detachment because everybody doesn't communicate well. And I think what we need changes over time. So what I used to desire might not be what I desire a couple of years from now. So it's important to be in constant communication and create situations of intimacy so you can consistently learn your partner, because we go through things internally. So even though we're together, it's times when we're not, or it's times where we're not even aware of what it is that we might be going through. It could be something physical. I mean, hormonally or anything of that nature, and you don't even realize that you're changing. And eventually, when you figure things out, then it needs to be a dialogue so you can figure it out.
Well, I think I changed my mind. I think this is hard. Like, I think I'm gonna go back to like prototype. When you really think about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, women, we need that intimacy. That's how they connect to their husbands, through sex, through certain things. So like when we go without it, that's hard. So I think women, even like women, when men cheat, I think women, they can handle a lot more in certain situations. And then when men, when they go lacking in certain things, they just run off, to another person to fulfill it. But I don't think it's more of a emotional type of decision. It's just a need decision. I don't know. So this is kind of funky, this area of who can handle it best.
So you think men and women handle cheating differently? Like what if it's the woman?
I think when women do it, they are making an emotional connection to another man. Like I think it takes a lot for a woman to really make that move to go with another guy. Well, I mean, after a marriage, well, it takes time, it takes time. And because you got to get the courage enough to do it and try to plan it all out so that you don't get caught, you know what I'm saying? So that you won't know. And like now we see the only time, a man finds out is when they have a kid, right? It ain't his. So a woman can cover up some stuff. So it's a little sticky. I don't know. I'm on prototype side. I don't know. That's a tricky. Good question, Humble Dad.
Yeah, so for me, fresh out the gate, I spoke to my wife. I let her know I don't like rejection. So as an expectation, there was going to be absolutely no rejection. I'm bullish. I'm BS. I'm BS. Prototype, I felt like you for a moment. No, I find this an interesting question because I think we can both get in our feelings, and especially from what we're saying earlier, like you shouldn't have those expectations for your partner, but I think we recognize patterns. So I think it's difficult for us to not assume, right? So it's like, I assume I did this right. I assume I got the conditions right. I assumed I had everything lined up. And then you get rejected and you're like, man, I was like I was off by 5%. And that was enough to wrap it up. So I look at it like, hey, you can assume sometimes. Like, that's how I look at it. So I can see how feelings can get hurt in that time. But then again, I look at it like this, like in sports, you see some people a foul. There's difference in fouls. Like you can foul somebody with the intention to hurt them, or you can foul somebody with the intention not to hurt them, and then you can help them up. So I think it's also in how the letdown is. So rejection, yeah, that's just a part of life. But I think there's also a grace that can be put to it as well. So an explanation also then soothes away those hard feelings as well.
Y'all is so magnanimous. Like I said, I have never been among such culturally. Get the f out of here, bro. Like men take rejection better than women, bro. If a man get rejected, we deal with it in your house, baby. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? You had a long day. A woman get rejected, the world stops. Stop it. Stop. Men are conditioned to take rejection. It's hard, man. Come on, man. Y'all get mad when y'all can't wear the dress y'all want to wear. Come on, man.
No, I mean, you can say that, but here's the thing about that, though, right? Like when men get rejected, I don't think we display it we don't display it the same way, but we'll go outside on you, like you know what I'm saying. We'll let it loose in other ways.
Who handles it the best? Women don't handle rejection well. Men will jump off the porch. Hold on, who? We talking about in a relationship, right?
Yes.
We talking about in a relationship, right? So again, okay, don't wear the vest if it don't fit you now. Don't wear the vest if it don't fit you now. But in general, right? How is it that we gonna sit up there and say this doesn't exist? Well, we have a large amount of men in sexless marriages, right? Women, once they say their happiness or something's not being met, they out the door, and then it get blamed on the man, right? Come on now.
Okay,
women don't handle rejection well. They don't.
But let's talk about that. Like the men that are not in sexless or that are in them sexless marriages, they're unproductive. That, you know what I'm saying? Like my brother was in a sexless marriage. You know what I'm saying? I would go over there like a puppy, like, hey, let's go to the hoop court. Let's go do this. He would like depress himself into the couch. No, I'm not doing nothing. She doesn't deserve a better me at all. I'm in this marriage. I hate it. And I'm going to just sit here and not be a more productive man. You know what I'm saying? So yes, men will sit in it, but we will turn our productivity off. You know what I'm saying? So that's still handling it the wrong way.
Right, but you're using the one example. Most men go along and still continue the things they're supposed to do for the home and the children.
Do they?
Regardless of what's going. Yeah, most.
I think they'll do the bare minimum.
Most
because if it's in you to be
okay,
great.
okay, hold on. Again, you using you as the example, right? You're using you as the example. We're talking in generalities, my brother, right? So again, a man will do a bare minimum. A woman won't do nothing. She won't clean. She won't raise the kids. Right?
If she won't reject it, come on.
Hey, Rick, before you, I want to get to Wanda in because she has a short amount of time. Then I want you to come back and respond to what to Wanda had to say. To Wanda, I want to hear what you have to say about this.
I mean, you know, it's all very interesting. I feel like, I will agree that I do think ultimately men handle rejection better. However, I also feel like we're talking primarily about sex here. I mean, it's clear it from everyone's response, at least I know with Rick here, we're talking mainly about sex. But I think when a woman is not getting the intimacy she desires, right, she's not going to handle it well. And it just so happens that the way she doesn't handle it well is going to trickle over to him. Because when a woman is not getting her type of intimacy, you're not going to get yours. Yeah. And so it's this effect that kind of keeps going. But when we say handle it better, do women act out? Are they passive aggressive? Do they do these things? Of course they are, right? That's just the way it is. But I think it stems from them not getting what they feel like they're missing. And again, I think that's because don't nobody talk. No one's communicating. No one's opening their mouth and saying, hey, I really want us to spend some time together. I really want us to talk. We just sit next to them and expect for a conversation to come out of nowhere. It's just not going to happen. And so overall, I think it's a lack of communication. As much as we love nonverbal cues, as much as we love the sensual stuff and catch my cue, people have to communicate. There's just really no better way than to say it. And if we don't do that, then we're going to be in this space where she's not getting what she needs, he's not getting what he needs, and then people are looking outside of the marriage for what they're not getting inside because they're not talking about what they need on the inside. And I think that's the ultimate problem.
Tawanda, to your point, yes, to your point, when I read the question, I was kind of like, and I think about my marriage, I'm like, who's getting rejected when it comes down to intimacy? Because my husband and I, we do communicate a lot. And so when it comes down to intimacy, especially sexual intimacy, yes, you could be like, oh, I'm tired or this and that, whatever. But outside of sexually, how I'm going to deny my husband a conversation he may want to have? I'm not trying to talk about your feelings or talk about your day-to-day. Like, who's doing that? I mean, I'm sure it happens. I mean, divorce is up. But my point is, I'm like, who's denying a conversation? I mean, this does come around sexually, but now communication comes into play. I remember like a week or two ago, we're about to get into busy season for my husband's industry. And he was like, look, do you feel this and this isn't happening enough? And I had to sit back and say, well, no, I know what we're doing right now. We're in the season of raising 2 young kids. We're in the season of dropping off at school, doing this, baseball camp. It happens. So I'm not in my feelings sitting back. Oh, he didn't talk to me today. Oh, he didn't call me while he was at work. No, we're not doing that. We're not 12. Mm-hmm. We're not pick me. I need attention. We're not doing that in a marriage. Please communicate. Say what you want. It's like, oh, do we need to go out of town? Do we need to go to a concert? I'm like, well, yeah, this concert's coming in May. Okay, let's plan and go to that. We just came back from a trip with the kids, but it was a trip, different surroundings, great. But that's all part of communication, though. So intimacy, yeah. If it's not going to be sexual intimacy and you rejecting your husband, and which you shouldn't do as a wife, then outside of that, who's denying any spouse of a conversation they may need to have?
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question real quick? Ladies, if everything's on the up and up, put yourself in this position, right? And you ready, you Randy, you ready to go. And you ask your husband, what's up, baby? What's popping? He'd be like, nah, not tonight.
Never.
It ain't no never. It's a question that it happened.
It's
How
a
would you
win.
handle that?
You said he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Feel some type of way.
abide by what he wants.
Huh? What?
Why?
Abide by what he, well, ask him why he doesn't want it.
Right.
You know, at least I know, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay.
Let me go
Oh,
watch some Netflix.
The excuse may be I got an early morning, but other than that,
appreciate
there is
that.
no.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Right. So how does it go? And I know it ain't ever y'all. Y'all always ready for y'all, man. So it's a hypothetical for y'all, right? But what it's like when he ready to go and you like, baby, I'm tired. I had a long day.
So let me, if y'all don't mind, I want to speak to this because I lived this life in the very top of my marriage. Okay.
I lived it too.
Consistently.
I'm sorry. Before you move on, can I get an answer to the question though?
So to say the question again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, if he came home
today,
anytime in your relationship,
There's a
when,
difference.
especially hold on, especially when you wasn't as mature as you are today, you know, the
Okay.
woman you've grown to be,
yes.
right?
Okay.
Right. And he said, and you was ready to go. You hot, you west, you moist down there. You had on boys, men have been drinking wine all night, right? And you say, baby, what's popping? He'd be like, nah, not tonight. What's the first thing that come into your mind?
I'm hurt. So I don't think it's more so mental. It's going to be an emotional reaction first.
Of course.
Okay. So not necessarily something that comes to my mind, but immediately I'm hurt.
Of course.
And dang,
Okay.
you know.
So how
So then I'm gonna want to talk about it. Then I'm gonna say, well, what's
right? You gonna
up?
spaz, right? You gonna spaz, right? Like you said, it's emotional response first, right?
I'm not a pop-off personality.
Okay.
You gotta know, right? Everybody's different. I'm not a pop-off personality.
You gonna feel away, right?
Of course.
And you gonna want to sit down and talk about it, right?
And we will.
Right.
Not that moment.
Hold on. We gonna talk about it, right?
Shortly and briefly.
So I just want to throw this one point out here. I want to throw one slight point out.
Hold on, prototype. Hold on.
Stop. You gonna feel away about it, right?
Of course.
We gonna talk about it, right?
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
You have to talk about it, but it's like you're gonna have to fall back and find another way to like.
We're not gonna pivot. We're not gonna pivot. I want an answer. We're not gonna pivot.
I'm trying to
right?
get the question.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it happened or not. I'm not in your bedroom, not your husband, I'm not your man. But you had a long day at work, girl. It's been a long week, right? It's Friday. He hot and ready. And you say, baby, not tonight. I'm tired. How does that go?
You usually go right to bed and the man goes without that rejection. That's how it goes, which is often.
I'll rest my case. Carry on.
What
Thank you. See,
I'm trying to figure out where
what it is.
And we're still talking about sex.
This is what I want to throw out.
We're talking only about sex.
It's true.
We're still only talking about sex. We haven't talked about no other type of intimacy. I can't even remember what I was going to say when I was
asked the question. So of course,
but we're still only talking about sex. So, and I don't particularly have this problem, but I know a lot of women do. As a wife coach who coaches women who are struggling in marriage, they want to have conversations that husbands don't want to have. And so they're seeking this form of intimacy they're not getting. And so they're disappointed. And so their husband is then also lacking the intimacy they're desiring. And so we just have this cycle that just continues and continues. And because everybody wants to be in their feelings because they're not getting what they desire.
Is that
And
a
at
tit for
some
tat?
point, we got to get out of feelings. At
Yes.
some point, we got to stop allowing feelings to dictate all of the things. And I know that's easier said than done. Of course, what isn't it? Everything is easier said than done, but it's just a reality that if your marriage is going to be successful at some point, right? I had to reach that point where you got to get up out these feelings, because these feelings ain't serving you. They're not doing anything to improve your marriage. Y'all still got a problem. And so you're going to have to talk about it. You're going to cry talking about it? Cool, cry. But you're still going to have to open up your mouth and say what you want, what you need, what you feel like you're missing, and vice versa. That's the only way anything is ever going to change.
So I know a lot of times, I know the notion that it's the man that don't always want to communicate or have a conversation, but a lot of times it's the woman. I know a lot of men where the woman, their wife don't want to have no conversations. They don't want to talk. And the man's open to communicating and talking and doing all of that, doing all that stuff. And, so also, like, a lot of people won't shut off sex, but will have sex without the intimacy, and things are still broken.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
there's that too that we got to take into consideration. Like, don't think just because we're having sex now that we're intimate, because we could have sex and we could still go back to the avoiding each other, avoiding the conversations. Like, sex it doesn't fix it in a lot of times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just doing the minimal. That's part of the minimal duty. You know what I'm saying? But you're still not having conversations. There's no dancing in the kitchen, like I mentioned earlier. There's none of that little smack on the butt as you walk past. There's none of that. But y'all just had sex, though. You know what I'm saying? So you can't assume that it's all about sex, because that intimate could still be missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of times we marry these people that we knew have a trouble with intimacy. Like, if I get with Rick and I know he's not a talker, and so now all of a sudden I want to project on him, hey, you need to talk, but he's not a talker. But I married him, and obviously that was a boundary or a red flag for me, or something that I didn't ask. Maybe I didn't communicate with him in the dating process, and I went ahead, got with him because I wanted to get him because he's fine. And he got the muscles in the six pack or whatever. But now that I need a certain thing from him and he can't give it to me, I just bypassed all that. And that's not fair to him, in a sense, because that's not who he is. He's not a communicator, or he doesn't communicate in that certain way. Like Mr. Tay talked about that love language. That's not how he communicates. So, and then, like, we don't even have the guts to go get help to see how to fix it. Like, okay, we just want to still handle it our way, or okay, I'm not happy, I want to leave. You know what I'm saying? So some of us, we don't even know how to bring it out. And the only option, the option that they make it is just to leave and find somebody else that gives it.
I think personality type has a lot to do with how you handle these types of things too. It depends on your partner's personality. And I also think that things are seasonal. Like, you have seasons, like everything, it's ebbs and flows. If you've been with somebody for a certain period, a long period of time, you change. What you want changes. What you may need will change as well. So I think you can't pinpoint, it's not a specific thing. Like, I'm sorry, it's the Wife School Mom, when you just said, what did I say that right? The Wife School Podcast, I'm sorry. When you said that you knew that this person, didn't give you the intimacy that you were looking for. Sometimes you don't even know what it is that you need. It would depend on how old you were when you decided to get married. Marriage was just a thing. You didn't know what it was going to entail. Like they say, a lot of women want the ring and they want the wedding, but they don't really understand what it's going to mean.
Yeah, they really don't.
So as you grow, your needs and expectations will change. So you need to be self-aware. So
yep.
Yeah.
I believe that, but there's not a lot of people that are teaching women how to do it. Unfortunately, they're coming when the problems are showing up.
Right.
And sometimes it's too late to that. It's not too late, but it's often a big, like a mess that you have to untangle, because nobody's really, really instructing people the expectations and the weight and the investment of marriage and what it entails. And so we get stuck in that fairy tale land, and we get people around us. We have our aunts and stuff that haven't been married a long time. So we have all these preconceived notions and what we probably don't want, but you still need like actual guidance going into marriage, and like, being realistic, and like, real, like you said, being open, to learn about somebody else other than yourself, because
Yeah.
it's really not a selfish thing anymore. And when you have children on top of that, then it just amplifies, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Exactly.
Dwayne, you had came off mute. What, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just thinking as y'all was sitting here, talking about letting
Did you
stuff
say
go.
no, and then you finna give an answer?
Yeah.
Okay,
For real.
I'm just
Because I was thinking about letting it go, but then the more I got into my feelings, because I remember last a couple weeks ago, I got fired up for talking about intimacy from a friendships perspective, right? Not the sexual perspective from the friend. I got fired up. All right. So I'm gonna still in my feelings. I'm gonna let that go. I'm working on it. Pray for me. But I was sitting there thinking, and as I was listening, we do go through these different stages in life, and intimacy may look the importance you put to the certain aspects of intimacy changes. So like as for with kids and stuff, you have to be more intentional in showing that sexual intimacy. Even we talked about as for scheduling sex, and somebody kind of laughed at that. I'm like, no, you gotta pen that in, right? Like stuff is as for the schedules moving and stuff like that, sometimes you do have to pen that in, and that's some of those helpful things, right, for that stage in life, because that's spontaneous. Hey, they can be I have 4 kids, and they could be spontaneous too. Okay, so I find targeting those times very important. But then from this friendship standpoint, like having a simple conversation. A simple conversation can go awry just like that, right? And from what I've learned from these marriage courses that I've been taking, it's something as simple as front loading the conversation. You come home from work. Hey, I just need you to listen. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, I got this, and in that it preps the person to know where their mind should be, because next thing you go off, the man goes into the fix it mode, and he's trying to fix it, and he's like, no, I just need you to listen. And then it's like, well, why are you going to sit there and tell me all this? And then there's that conflict that starts off that. But even just a simple thing as front loading a conversation for me has been amazing. Do I do it well? No. But then I learned these as like little tactics, these little things that you could put in your bag. Like, all right, you know what? How about I ask, like, even as her when we're talking about, just say it. Find ways to say it. I don't consider it complaining no more. I write reports, and I give the report to the boss, and then the boss do what they do with the report. And that's how I've been looking at things. Communication is very important, and for me, from where I'm at, it's more because all the energy having to go to the kids and stuff like that, we tend to then not spend enough time on working on us. So friendship in my relationship right now, friendship with my wife is one of the most important things. So as for intimacy, once I start getting to seeing where she's at and how she's doing and all these things beside all that she's got going on, for me, that's how I feel that I strike up that level of intimacy, seeing what she's got going on with her.
Okay, did you want to add something to this thing? Or did you already?
I mean, I thought both sides is pretty good, but for me and my wife, like I said, her love language is words affirmation. So when we talk about intimate, who handled it better, I would say I do, because hers is like conversation. And like, for me, I used to say I didn't like to talk about these things, or I didn't know how to like emotionally fill your cup. But at the end of the day, like for her, I think when women ask for something, they see you giving the effort somewhere else. So for me, when I talk about these things, I love football. I played football, went to college, D1 scholarship. I met her by pursuing my dream of football. So when I get around my homeboys, we talking football. You can't tell me anything that I don't know. I love my teams. I love all of these things. So when she see this effort over here and the excitement and how like you're so open and like you love these things, talking with your homeboys, to her, that's you being intimate because your guards are down. that's her seeing that you really love something and you giving like your whole conversation and attention to that thing. So when she want to talk about something and now you reject her of that, that's her saying and seeing it from her perspective. It's just my opinion that you love football and talking to your homeboys more than you love our marriage and talking to me about these things. So for me, I had to get, and this, like I said, this is totally me and our situation, nobody else's. So for me, I had to come to that mindset and like understanding, like when she want to talk all the time, she's not high maintenance. You're just low effort because she see what you're doing with your friends. She see you getting on these Zooms and these streams and talking, and then you want to come give her the leftovers of pouring in other people's cup. So she's like, I want you to pour in my cup first, and then let the overflow be into other people. So for me, I had to switch things around, and like I said, prioritize what's important to you and just knowing your spouse. My wife loved to talk. She asked me like, "What's on your mind, babe?" She's like literally. Like I just want to have a conversation with you wherever it goes, it goes. If it's 10 minutes, okay. If it's 5 minutes, okay. If it's an hour, I'm okay with it. I just want to have a conversation with my husband. And for me, that's not the case. For me, like I said, my love language, physical touch. She's tired with dealing with the babies. Like she don't want to do anything. I roll up and go to bed. Like I'm good because I know it's not because she doesn't love me. It's because she's probably had a long day or whatever the case may be. And I know tomorrow I got another chance to shoot my shot, which I am. So I really get over it fast. So when I say women handle it better, guys, it's short term. And then the next thing, the women just, I think they handle it different because they're more invested. And like I said, they see you giving that same effort somewhere else, and they want you to bring that effort to them and give them that same attention and effort. And I think when they don't get that, then they feel rejected at a totally different level. So I think that's what when we talk about is levels to it, because our level is so low, and the women it's just different. So that's just my perspective on that.
Oh, and Ricky, my apologies for mine sounding a little soft, but I've never been able to see from the perspective of a woman from their standpoint because I've just been a man these 35 years. So my bad. And and also as for the rejection piece, like I just like look at it like, hey, we win some or we lose some. So I try to win more than I lose though.
But that's my point though. You see what I'm saying? Like,
no, come on with it.
No, that's my point. You guys, the question that was posed was like, who handles rejection better, men or women? Right?
But I could, for me, I could only answer better. I could only answer from the standpoint of from me, and the betterment of I want to handle it the best that I can because I know that again it's a part of life, right?
Exactly. So you this is redundant. You answering a question. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's what I can't. Can we? So to that aspect, can we control how women react to certain things?
You can't control how nobody reacts, right? If you give stimuli, whatever the reaction they give is the reaction they give. I was answering the question. Right? You guys are being disingenuous. What y'all trying to do is ride the fence. No, it's true. The truth of the matter is, if something don't go your wife's way, the house will stop. The house will stop. You will catch holy hell until you make it right.
No, and I guess that okay. So that's where it may be foreign to me because like as much like y'all were saying it earlier, from the guy's standpoint, like we'll keep it moving. My wife, she keeps it moving too. Right, as for that, because
I understand.
That's why it's important to understand. Like
it's never anyone on the panel, bro. It's
no. So I get it. So if it's, I could only relate from my standpoint. I get the generality piece of it. Like everyone could be petty. I made mention the other day. I petty of the petty.
It's not the petty. It's not the petty. Again, I understand we want to use your perspective. And if you want to say that you only talk from your perspective, that's fine. But for us so if we're not doing gender anymore, then what happens is that Prototype gives his opinion, you give your opinion, and we move on. But come on now, what I'm saying, let's be realistic in a situation. Let's be realistic. Now, it might not be Bethany, it might not be White School Podcast, it might not be the beautiful Dia, right? But in general, right? You can't sit up there and say that this is not happening when most people say happy wife, happy life.
But right? who said that women? I mean that women handled it better. I
No,
agree.
no, no, no. I'm. Hey, I'm
That's
not.
what he's saying that.
I'm not arguing with the people who agree to the sentiment. I'm not. This
Oh,
is not the point I was making. What I'm
oh,
saying is that a lot of times in these conversations, people want to ride the fence when that's not the truth. You see what I'm saying? That's giving a false dichotomy of what really go on, right? That's why I say lovingly, and this is no disrespect. I ain't trying to throw shots at nobody. That's why I say it's never anybody on the panel. I've never been among such distinguished people in my life where everything goes with how you guys speak so eloquently about the way things supposed to go. But the truth is, we know they don't go that way.
but is there a right or a wrong? Like,
Yes. There is black and white. Yes. There is a right and wrong.
So he's saying that men handle it better. And I guess the fence, I wouldn't call it a fence. I would say we both are messed up because although the house don't stop, although the house don't stop, men will handle rejection in a completely different way.
Exactly.
And it's not healthy. You know what I'm saying? They'll jump off the porch and do the worst outside.
Exactly.
You know, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you like this. Let me ask you this question. Okay. When a person, and I think this is why it's challenging when people have conversations, because people don't want to offend other people. When in fact there is an answer. Like you have to have a definitive. If somebody says which one, right? You have to choose one, right? You can say, well, in my scenario, in my situation, this is how it happens. But if the question is based on generality, the question wasn't how do you see your relationship? The question was, who handles rejection better? I'll give it a case in point, right? I was watching this little video, and a guy was going on the beach, and he was asking the women. He said, "What if a man said no to you about sex?" I kid you not, probably 99% of them said they had a problem with the rejection. That one lady said, "Well, I'll make him do it," right? Others said the exact same thing. They was like, "What's wrong with him?" You all even said as women, we got to sit down and have a conversation. Y'all said that, and y'all agree. Well, Tawana said it, and y'all agreed. Whereas Tay said, "Listen, I'm just gonna roll over and go to sleep," because she said no. That is saying that that men handle it better because it's not a conversation to be had, right? We just accept the fact that you said no, right? So there is a distinguishing manner in which we're having a conversation. And Ricky is right. It's disingenuous when the question is literally saying which one is better. And you say, well, it kind of depends on, no, right? Who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? You're not going to say, well, it depends on the game. No, you're going
Mike, MJ.
You're going to say who? I disagree.
Right. Okay. When you guys say it like that, and then when you really think about the life of a man, he has experienced more rejection than women. And so when he gets married, it's probably just like in a second nature type of thing. Like, okay, whatever. Like Mr. Dwayne said, I'll just shoot my shot tomorrow. And like Mr. Rick is saying, like the fact that, and Mr. Humble Dad, that we have to have a conversation, have to add another layer of a simple rejection. We want to, have that validation with our emotions to dig deeper. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're just, doing way more on top of just like accepting the rejection at the point of rejection.
And it's not just sex, right? Y'all said it's not just
it's not just sex.
Okay, so if a man is not providing you the intimacy that you want, you all are going to have something to say. That's what y'all said. Y'all even said y'all will have something to say, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, because we have sex with you guys, we are connected with you, and when a pattern is off with us, we're like, hey, what? Our ears are up. You know what I'm saying? We're like, he didn't put his his Hanes boxes on today the right way. I'm like, hold on, what? You don't wear that shirt. So we're more in tune that way on an intimate like level, like the pattern type thing. So we just.
I would say it depends on how often the rejection is taking place. Because if I'm told no, then I'll roll over and go to sleep as well. But if that's happening on a consistent basis, then that's a problem. And not to mention, what does better mean when we say that men handle it better? Because a man also, if he's not getting what it is that he wants consistently, in a general sense, since we speaking generally, then he would tend to jump off the porch, as Prototype said. So is that really responding better? So what does better mean? Can we elaborate on that or give some context to how men handle rejection better?
So I would consider like the buyers and the sellers. I think women sell and the men buy. They want to buy as much, and if they can't buy it, they'll move on to the next one. They'll pitch an offer. And I guess that's how I look at it. And as for the salesman mentality, you got to pitch to as many as possible, and the more you pitch to, the better your average is going to be, because women reject at a higher percentage than men do. So if that is true, yes. As for we get rejected more. So if they were to be rejected, it's far and few between for them. So they're going to react differently by the numbers, I guess. So I see what you're saying. I see what it's getting at. But I just, for me, I then see that it has to equal out somewhere, because it takes a strong man to be rejected and be persistent. Like, rather than keeping it moving, like going on to the next one. I refer to some men like it's like watching a dog at a dog park. He'll go and sniff the next one, and go on to the next one, right? Just keep it moving. Sorry to put it like that, but that's a man to me. Like we grimy sometimes. So in that, I could only say that yes, we are in the game of getting rejected, and we have to handle it, because if we don't, that's whenever things get really bad. I would say really bad for us, and also really bad for society from a societal standpoint. Like, we have to be strong in order to be able to accept rejection and then keep it moving. So in a marriage, like, I'll put it like this: if one of y'all is sick and you don't have the ability to perform, whether it's sexual intimacy or whether it's emotional intimacy, like, doesn't it take strength to hang in there, because your happiness is not being fulfilled? Your happiness or your pursuit of happiness is being rejected. I then look at it from the standpoint, it's like it takes strength from both sides in order to then stand in there and accept that rejection.
That's so funny.
Okay, I want to know. I want to stop right here if we can. Okay. Dwayne, so who in that sense who do you think will handle rejection better in that sense? Because the rejection has no intention. If someone is sick, who do you think, a male or a female, will handle the rejection in that instance, as far as not being able to get your needs met because your partner is ill?
You know what? That's a tough one. I mean, yeah, that's a tough one. I think that's what, like, going outside of the man. And whenever it comes to cheating typically develops based off of some kind of connection, friendship connection, and it develops and blossoms from there. And they lose interest in their partner, and then they drift off and go to another home. So if that in itself is true, that's the investment in which you can be investing into your partner, like for wherever you can. And I guess that's how I look at it. And even whenever it comes to, let's say, pornography, they say for men, because that's a form, like, we will, as a coping mechanism, right, for sexual rejection, we'll go to porn, but that's not healthy. That's not a healthy way of it. So,
and that's what I'm saying, is the way we handle it isn't healthy.
Yes.
So that's what, it's not better. Just because a woman gets loud and speak about it, and we'll go off and go watch porn, go to the strip club, or do whatever we do, it's not a better thing. We're both destroying the situation.
Yeah. So
I would say that you're talking about okay. So basically, I was saying for a moment, right? You all are speaking of if it's a consistent thing.
I'm speaking,
right?
I'm speaking in the moment.
Okay. So what I'm saying, hold on real quick. What I'm saying is, women what I'm saying is we y'all even said it, y'all agree with Tawanda, okay, when she said, and Ricky asked the question, how would you feel if it happened to you? She said that I would be emotional. There would be an emotional situation that happened to me, and you all agreed as women. You agreed, right? And then, so an emotional response to me just telling you no, okay, of intimacy, there should not be that issue. That should not happen because it's just a no, right? You should come back and shoot your shot a next time,
Exactly.
right? Okay, but I'm saying, but what in generalities, that's not what typically happens. You all women are maybe mature to understand that because you have experience on your side, but the average woman is saying he better not reject me. I'm not talking about I'm not just talking about sexually. I'm talking about he better have that long conversation that I want to have. He better make sure that he go take care of the kids because that's gonna he need to cook. He need to if that's what he needs to do in order to get that time back at the end of the day, right? So what I'm saying is, and we got to be aware of that because you want to teach women. Y'all all said you're saying you want to teach women. You got to teach women to say, okay, if he says no, it doesn't have to be a long-winded conversation. He just doesn't feel like it right now, right? Mm-hmm. That's not what y'all said. Y'all said that y'all would sit down and have to have a conversation about why he said no.
Sir.
Huh?
We did not all say that.
Y'all didn't disagree.
I didn't disagree, but no.
You see what I'm saying?
I would ask a question, but like just to get like, I mean, if you want clarification, it doesn't have to be like, well, it has to be like a long drawn out thing. Like if somebody says, well, I don't want to have sex today, or because I'm tired, or
and most men
my kneecap
will not
hurt.
ask the question though. Most men are not going to say why you don't want to have sex with me.
I'm gonna be like, okay,
they're just gonna be like, okay, is what I'm saying. That's the difference.
Right.
And I'm saying there should not have to be a why.
And this is not picking on Martavius Young, but even he said he had to make the adjustment. You see what I'm saying? He had to make the adjustment. To him, it's, hey, I love football. I'm talking with my friends. You know what I'm saying? He has to make the adjustment.
So I guess I can speak from my anecdotal experience for me, right? And it's not even just about sex, but if my wife tells me no for anything, I'm having an absolute fit.
Hey, see what that? I was waiting
Don't tell me no. I can understand the sex thing, right? But it's not all like intimacy is not about sex for me. Like sex is sex, you know what I'm saying? But intimacy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't tell me no, I'm not going to come watch a movie with you. Don't tell me no, I can't go to the store for you. I don't really think she has the liberty to tell me no. Like,
Hold smash.
Like no.
She does not have the liberty to tell you no.
And if she do, she's gonna pay for it.
How did she pay for you? She says
the punishment. The punishment will be determined based on the level of whatever is going on.
Bethany, were you about to say something?
I was about to say something. It's now that Prototype just mentioned that, like, don't want to, if his wife doesn't want to like sit down and watch a movie. It's funny because sometimes my me time is like I could watch a Netflix show and fold clothes, and sometimes my husband's like, let's just come lay down and just come chill. And it was like, I got stuff to do in the house, things got to get done. But he definitely does feel a type of way of like, I'm like, okay, I can't say no too many times. Let me just go chill. The laundry will be there tomorrow. It's not a big deal. So I think it is a timing thing, and I think is how often that's happening. So no. But yes, to answer your question, men take rejection better. There you go, Ricky.
That's what's up. Very good dialogue. So, you know, as we're talking about people taking it a certain way or who does it better, you know, arguments do take place in the midst of us having and living life with the person that we want to spend the rest of our lives with, right? And intimacy is a part of the relationship. So let's say that argument takes place. Will intimacy still take place? That's going to be the conversation. Argument takes place. Will intimacy still take place? Okay, and then whoever wants to go can go.
I'll go.
Okay.
I would say initially no. We like peace in our house. And look, it's not by, oh, I'm not doing that. No, it's literally we like peace in our house. So when there's no peace, everybody in their feelings. Now, we don't let arguments go 24 hours, 48 hours. We would have an argument and everybody get what they got to say out. We try not to go to bed mad, but if it happens in the evening, we turn it over and people mad. And guess what? Neither one of us sleep well that night. So you wake up still aggravated. You didn't get good rest. And eventually within them 8 hours, the next day, that conversation has to be had. Like, babe, look, I don't like arguing with you. This is my husband telling me this because sometimes I be in my feelings. I'm like, look, I don't like this. I like peace in our house. I don't like us going at each other like this. And this, we come to a compromise and agreement or agree to disagree. And we keep it moving. And then makeup sex happens later.
I
and
mean,
everybody happy.
Maybe if you gave him a piece, you would have that piece.
Look, he may not want that piece when everybody mad.
No, he wants that piece when you're mad.
I'm mad sometimes, but I mean, just make sure you guys don't go to bed angry. But you know, you could throw that leg over there, you know.
Oh, wait, no, let me say something.
Let them know that's okay, baby. It's all right.
We know we're not happy or we just kind of like aggravated when we don't say, oh, I love you. Or we'll say it, but you know, it's kind of like a little grudgingly like, I love you too. Yeah, it'd be like, man, tomorrow we're going to talk about this.
Come here and let me show you. Come here so I can show you how much I love you, girl.
Yes.
Show you how much I love you. Come here. Let's see how mad you can stay.
Usually men are ready to go. I find that men are they're ready. They are ready to go. You know, they don't forgot about all that stuff because they're not emotional like us. You know, they may feel like, okay, whatever. And they're like, okay, baby, let's go.
Don't think that because we'll still make love to you and still not like you.
That's okay.
Right. It'd be on their brain. It'd be low key still in the back of the brain because it's unresolved. So no.
Look at the
I'm just saying.
We'll hate you at the same time.
Hey, I'm
That's
just
okay.
saying
As long as you hating me and not in the bed with somebody else.
At that point, I got a point to prove. That's all I'm saying. Hey, somebody gonna tap out. It ain't gonna be the kid. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sorry, Ray. You so
I'm
funny.
dead.
You thinking it's makeup sex and you're like, nah, he hates you.
I'm trying to prove a point. Talk that ish not.
He's like, why you got my chokehold like that? Like,
all that stuff.
You so crazy. Y'all crazy.
Real mad.
See, that's why arguments can't go. You can't be mad so long. It can't be like a week-long argument. Like, who? No, that's unresolved. 24 hours.
Tay, what you thinking, bro?
It's taking place here. Like, so we about conversations, and we had to grow to that. And so for us, like, we're gonna have that conversation. And what I've loved about it over time is like when I was talking about earlier, when I was talking about that awareness, I know her love language, she knows mine. So like our argument isn't always gonna be about the problem. I tell people all the time, like our marriage isn't me versus her, it's us versus everything coming against us. Like, so we're like, how's this trying to tear us apart? Let's have a conversation about it. Yeah, I may have messed up. Yeah, you may have done something, but like, let's fix this. And I think once you get to that healthy side of it, and now you're starting to have that real intimacy, now it's bringing you together. And then after that, you know, that's when my side kick in and you have the physical touch and it just leads to something great. So, or 5 kids. So be careful, prototype.
That boy said lead to something greater.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna knock it down. You know what I'm saying? And if I was wrong, I was like, yeah, she gonna like, you know, you was wrong. I'm like, yeah.
I don't think I can still admit I was wrong, but
you can't admit that.
That's your problem right there, son. That's your problem right there.
That's both our problem. We know that. That's the bigger problem. We're working on it.
So how do you get to that point of like, okay, I'm going to apologize, but I'm angry. Like, you know what I'm saying? So Dia, maybe you can speak to that. How do you get to the point like I'm angry? Is there ever a thought process that I want to be intimate, but like I'm angry? So is there a moment that, okay, I'm going to push past this? Or it's just like, I just got to get over, I just got to wait till I'm over the anger?
If I'm angry, I'll say I'm angry, and then I'm gonna say why it is that I'm angry, and we'll talk about it. But I can have a conversation about anything and get past it, but we need to have the conversation. So as far as it, impeding on the ability to be intimate. I don't, not on my end. Like, we could talk about it and it'll be okay and work it out. But on his, if he's still angry, no, ain't nothing happening. It's not gonna happen. If he upset, he just gonna be upset until he get over it. But I'll say we can have this conversation, and I'm not gonna be upset afterwards. We just need to figure out what it is that's going on. So on my end, it wouldn't stop it, but on his, it probably would.
That's so. And go ahead. Somebody wanted to say something?
Yeah. I look at it like me and HD had this conversation. My boy Pro too. It's all about ego. You know what I'm saying? It's all about that ego, man. I ain't got no ego when it comes to my girl. No, them days is long past, man. Hey, babe, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to my boy Tap. Like, some fights ain't worth it, man. Like,
he did say that.
You know, like I know I ain't the only. Maybe I am, because like I said, you guys are so distinguished, right? Sometimes y'all just be at each other and don't know why. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Something happened that you ain't voiced or you know what I'm saying? Like, man, sometimes it's okay. Hey, I'm willing to stand down first, especially if it's something stupid. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't argue with my girl about something I'm not correct about. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And like I tell my wife, no, if I'm making a point, I'm correct, because otherwise I wouldn't bring it to you. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, if it's something minor and it's you know, hey, babe, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I got you what you need. You know what I'm saying? But it's all about that ego, man. That's the first thing I think that's one of the major things I learned later. I wish I would have learned early in my marriage, right? Is that ego don't play no part, man. I'm here for you and you here for me. I serve you, serve me. So both of our needs get met. You know what I'm saying? So chop that ego up, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it get to the point where it's compromising you, that's where the problems arise, right? But if it's little stuff that can, go past the wayside, man, it's all good, man. I love you, boo boo. Mwah. You know what I'm saying? Let's get past the stupid stuff,
Yeah, I just had me and my fiance Kendra, we had an argument today, and we were disagreeing about something, and I felt a ways about what she said. And so I just got quiet because I'm trying to work on not having every argument or having every disagreement, right? That's a challenge for me, obviously, because I like to talk, right? And I like to get things settled. But everything is not worth having a conversation. Like for her, she wants to get past it very quickly. In my mind, I think that this may lead somewhere if we don't talk about it, right? That's what I'm thinking, right? And then, so she let me go off the phone. I didn't call her, but I had things to do. We're in the midst of moving. We getting married June 1st. So we're relocating, things of that nature, right? And then I have 4 kids, right? And so I'm just trying to get things accomplished and have some time, spend time with them. And she texted me. I didn't know she texted me. And she calls me and said, so you didn't get my text? I said, no, I was napping real quick. And she said, I know you mad at me. That's what she said. I said, really? And I thought about it. I know I am mad at her. Do I want to tell her this, or do I want to move past this, or do I want to have this conversation? Like, all those things went through my mind. And I'm thinking, if I have the conversation, will it be long-winded because I got a show to do? Right? And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and tell her, because she said, I'm not mad at you, so you know. And I said, well, I am mad at you, but this is the reason why. And let's talk about it. And so before I got on the show, I was able to tell her the reason why I was upset, and she was able to say what she said, and we just see it differently, and we left it at that, right? So that's a shout out to my lady Kendra for being for saying, right, I know you mad at me. Let's talk about it. As opposed to me, I don't even know if I would have brought it up, right? And so I think it's important for people to have a conversation. I'm learning tonight that just have the conversation, and every conversation doesn't need to be had, right? And then you need to, and as I see it, just know that you don't know when their time is going to be gone, not be here. So enjoy all the time that you have with them in the most productive and loving way as possible, right? So I want to say thank you to the panel for being here this evening. Y'all done a wonderful job in providing solutions, hopefully, to those that will listen and have listened. And you can check out Matavius Young on all the platforms. Him and his wife and 5 kids. They always doing something family oriented. You can check them. I think it's the Young Family, right? You can check them out. Young Family. Go subscribe to the channel. And then Bethany, I think I saw her on Instagram. Do you have a following or anything like that, Miss Bethany?
No, it's just Bethany _Elena. But I don't post too much. I come on panels here and there, but yeah, I love marriage talk. I love relationship talk. But I don't always have the time to do panels. And yeah, I've been asked to do a YouTube channel, but I really don't have the time to put into it. So I don't want to start something I can't finish.
Appreciate you spending time with us this evening. I really do. And then you have Arnold Schwarzenegger Prototype has a show on Tuesdays.
That is hilarious.
Hey man, yeah, check us out, Prototype Dad Podcast. Tuesday night we go live at 9:00 Eastern time. We're on Instagram, TikTok, all your favorite platforms, man. Spotify, check us out.
That's a bit. Hey, I'm on mute. So what you got for those that don't know, Dwayne for the entire time I've had this show has always struggled with his mute buttons, right? And so people that have not been on the show in a while still know that. Right? And so that's why we may mess with Dwayne about the mute button. Because one time he was talking, he thought he had taken it off mute, and he hadn't. Right. So that's Dwayne, but that's my homie. Go ahead, Dwayne. Get your 5 seconds of fame, bro. What can they catch you at? I knew you was gonna do that.
I'm on mute. Hey, I just wanted to prove you right, man. See? Hey.
Dwayne Jones photography.
Appreciate
Dwayne Jones photography. He did my graduation pictures. So he's supposed to be doing my engagement pictures as well. Then, of course, you got the Wife School podcast, right? And that's on all platforms. Go ahead.
All platforms, just the woman that's been through the ringer in relationships, and I just want people to learn from my mistakes and what I did, and improve their marriages and themselves, and be better women and be suitable women for men.
That's a bit. I appreciate you for being here. Absolutely. Yeah. And then Dia, what you got? Dia is in the mix. Go ahead, Dia. What can we find?
I got the Rose from Rebel podcast relaunch coming, and my podcast is about spirituality, self-actualization, and practical metaphysics. So I will let you guys know when it's ready.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, I am on Instagram at a Rose from Rebel, but my following is not where it needs to be yet. And I would like to, wait until everything is ready. But you can find me there.
That's a bit. And then
just keep going. Don't wait.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh no, I'm in the process right now. I started it before, but it's a relaunch. So yeah.
That's a bit. What about you, Ricky?
Man, what's good, man? Thanks so much for your time. Allow me on this great panel, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to Humble Dad, man. He should be in at 1K last year, bro. Make sure y'all subscribe to my boy Humble Dad. Thank you for the illustrious panelists, man. Y'all can check me out here on YouTube, Ricky Williams, #TWT. We talk about life and boxing, but you got to get through the boxing first, right? Follow me on Instagram at rdubs. You see it right there. Every Friday night on Twitch, I got a show where we go through music. I'm an OG, right? So I like the 90s, the 80s. Last Friday we had T.I. versus Ludacris for King of the South. T.I. blew him out the water, y'all. T.I. blew Luda out the water, y'all. This week we having the King of Pop, Michael Jackson versus the King of R&B, R. Kelly versus. So if y'all ain't got nothing to do on Friday, you want to chill out, pull up with a drink in your slippers and, remember, go down memory lane. We're going to do it with MJ and R. Kelly. So, and get out y'all feelings, man. We listen to the music. We don't care what that man did. That's man business.
You also do the Truck Chronicles too.
Oh yeah, that's my daily show. I've been real busy at work, so I ain't had time. I ain't had lunch in like 2 weeks. But my daily show is the Truck Chronicles, man, where I analyze stuff like this and other channels and just real life stuff, man. And I messed up a lot in life, man. I finally got it right. So I just try to pass some lessons on so you ain't got to go through it. So But I appreciate your time always, bro. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, homie. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.